found a fake girlfriend to deal with my mom rushing me to get married, but I never expected my finger to slip. I accidentally pulled my ice-cold female CEO straight into my family group chat. The whole family started cheering for me. But at this moment, I was sweating profusely. I hurriedly clicked on CEO Shen Yuxi's profile picture. Boss Shen. I'm so sorry. My family is pushing me way too hard to get married. Today, I originally planned to pull my buddy into the chat to calm my family down. I didn't expect my hand to slip and pull you in instead. I'm really sorry for bothering you this late. I'll definitely be more careful next time. After a round of sincere explanations, I was still worried Shen Yuxi wouldn't believe me, so I attached my chat history with my friend, along with proof of my mom rushing me to marry. I took screenshots of everything and sent them over. Finally, I added one more line, Boss Shen. I am truly, incredibly sorry, accompanied by a meme of someone kowtowing frantically. I really didn't expect this. Ugh, what a total mess. The only way to fix this is to explain it properly. Whether Shen Yuxi believes it or not, it's entirely up to her now. Meanwhile, on the other side, Shen Yuxi was sitting alone in her 1,260 square foot office, looking at my messages with amusement and reading the warm greetings in my family group chat. She slowly typed a line in the chat box. I gripped my phone tightly. I hadn't even exited the chat with Shen Yuxi yet. When I heard my mom yell, "This kid is finally talking," I thought to myself, I'm dead. Shen Yuxi didn't reply to my private message. Instead, she spoke up in the family group chat. She must be explaining the situation to them. If my mom finds out I looked for a fake girlfriend to fool her, it's going to be an absolute disaster. This is a complete nightmare. I sneaked a glance at my mom. I was just about to confess when I noticed her clutching her phone, the smile on her face growing even brighter. I was a bit bewildered, so I hurriedly clicked into the WeChat group Loving Family. The moment I saw it, my jaw dropped to the floor. Uncle, Auntie, thank you for your warm welcome. Let me introduce myself. My name is Shen Yuxi. You can call me Xiaoqi once work gets a bit less busy. Well, go register our marriage. I was completely dumbfounded. I had no idea what Shen Yuxi was playing at, but I vaguely felt that not only was she not mad, she was actually helping me put on an act, and she seemed to be enjoying it too. Registering our marriage? That's absolutely absurd. No matter how you look at it, this doesn't seem like something the cold-hearted demon boss would ever do. Just as I was wondering about this, my phone beeped twice. I finally got a message from Shen Yuxi, but it was just 2 words. Got it. I was completely clueless. Snapping back to reality, I looked at the new messages constantly popping up in the family group. My mood instantly tanked. What exactly does Shen Yuxi mean by this? Shez even chatting so enthusiastically. I sent another message to Shen Yuxi. Boss Shen, since you already know everything, could you please leave the group chat? After all, Shen Yuxi is my superior. If I actually let my mom kick her out, I'd feel like a bit of a coward. Besides, she didn't even do anything wrong. I was the one who dragged her into this. Half a minute later, I finally received Shen Yuxi's reply. A few bold words left me stunned. Why should I leave? I decisively replied to Boss Shen. Because this is my family group chat, not a work group. Actually, my point was very clear. This is my personal space. Boss Shen has no right to intrude. But the very next second, I was completely blindsided. Shen Yuxi replied, "Now, this is my space too." At the same time, the messages in the family group kept updating. Now they were even discussing renting a house for us, so we could live together. They had even figured out who would cook, wash the dishes, and mop the floor in the future. Barring any surprises, it was definitely going to be me. And Shen Yuxi played along the entire time. Her tone was incredibly natural. So natural, it was as if she were actually my girlfriend. The sound of the rain outside gradually grew louder. Hearing the rain, my mom looked outside with a beaming face. It's raining heavily. Xiaoxi is still working overtime, right? Saying that, she gave me a smack. Don't just sit there like a log. Hurry up and go pick Xiaoqi up from work. Does she even need picking up? Shouldn't I just stay home and enjoy a hot bowl of soup? I was about to say that Shen Yuxi had already gone home. Just then, my phone buzzed twice. I clicked it open. It was Shen Yuxi telling me to come to her office. Her tone was cold and emotionless.
Yep, that's her all right.
Speechless. Looks like I can't escape this today, but this is a good chance to have a proper talk with Shen Yuxi. I need to ask her what exactly Shez playing at. I told her to leave the group, but she refused. She even gave a full self-introduction, even though she deliberately hid quite a bit, only revealing the tip of the iceberg. But it was enough to make my family extremely satisfied.
Isn't this just setting me up?
Thinking of this, I decisively stood up. Under the caring gazes of my relatives, I said solemnly, "Mom,
You're right.
I'm going to bring Xiaoqi home." With that, I held my head high and marched proudly toward the door. "Are you crazy? Aren't you taking an umbrella?" My mom muttered as she stood up. Then, as if remembering something, she hurriedly added, "Take a portion of hot soup for Xiaoqi." At this moment, my grandma also smiled and chimed in. "There is still pork bone soup in the pot. It's been simmering all afternoon. It smells delicious." My aunt agreed. Right. Let me go scoop some up. My aunt was the closest to the kitchen. Saying that, she stepped into the kitchen. In less than 2 minutes, she brought out the bone soup. She also handed me a couple's umbrella. Lin Lang still uneasily reminded me, don't ride your electric bike. It's dangerous on rainy days. It's fine if you fall, but picking up your girlfriend is important business. Don't delay her work. I was truly speechless. It seems this matter isn't going to be that simple. Everyone likes Shen Yuxi so much now. If I tell them the truth, wouldn't I get kicked out of the house? Without time to overthink, I quickly went downstairs, hailed a cab, and sped toward the company. By the time I arrived, the rain had gotten heavier, just like my mood right now. 5 minutes later, I smoothly arrived at the door of Shen Yuxi's office. I knocked on the door. A cold voice rang out from inside. I knew immediately it was Shen Yuxi. Because her voice is very distinct, I pushed the door open and walked in. You called me in. A fleeting smile appeared on Shen Yuxi's face. It was an expression I had never seen before. A passing smile, indescribably beautiful, like a ray of sunlight piercing through the winter fog. I have to admit, Boss Shen is stunningly beautiful. I politely greeted her, Boss Shen. But Shen Yuxi didn't look up. She just replied, wait a moment, let me finish talking to them. Then I'll talk to you. Her tone was both authoritative and cold, completely unlike the gentle older sister persona, who was so polite in the group chat. The most annoying part was, after saying that, she actually kept chatting in my family group. Compared to them, I felt like an unwanted orphan. I felt I had to put a stop to her behavior. Boss Shen, you seem very interested in my family group chat. Shen Yuxi raised an eyebrow. Her beautiful almond eyes sparkled brightly. Seeing my soaking wet hands carrying a lunchbox, she couldn't help but ask curiously, what's that? I placed the lunchbox on Shen Yuki's desk. I looked at her seriously. This is the bone soup my mom told me to bring you. She was afraid it would get cold, so she specifically used a thermos. She said drinking it will warm you up. She also told me to take you home. Shen Yuxi was stunned for a moment. Then, a surge of emotion welled up in her heart. Shen Yuxi's family was very wealthy. All her meals were prepared by a nanny. She had never tasted soup personally cooked by her own mother. Everyone knew she was a child born with a silver spoon in her mouth. She had excellent personal qualifications and was someone favored by God. But only Shen Yuxi knew just how strict her parents were with her. To mold her into a success, she was raised abroad. Her parents ran their business domestically. This led to a long-standing lack of affection, making her increasingly tough and independent. But the harmonious atmosphere of my family was like a feather, gently tickling her heart. This feeling was both comforting and magical. It made Shen Yuxi subconsciously want to linger a little longer, but I seriously interrupted her thoughts. This is all because my mom values her future daughter-in-law. Since the misunderstanding has been cleared up, I still stand by my previous point.
I hope you can leave my family group chat.
If this keeps up, my mom is really going to think you're her daughter-in-law. Just thinking about my mom getting hurt, I couldn't bear it. So I decided, even if I lose my job today, I have to make Shen Yuxi leave the group. But right at that moment, both my phone and Shen Yuxi's phone started buzzing non-stop at the same time. It was a message from my mom. Shioki, make sure to drink the soup. If it doesn't suit your taste, just tell auntie. Next time, it's too dangerous for a girl to go home late from work. From now on, let Lin Yuan get off work with you. Let him be your driver and take you home. Shen Yuxi replied, Uncle. Auntie, thank you both for your care. After sending it, she finally placed her phone down on the desk. She looked at me seriously. For a moment, our eyes met. I panicked a little. To be honest, this was the first time I had observed her so closely. Shen Yuxi's large, expressive eyes, her long, thick eyelashes, the shape of her lips was beautiful. Paired with her red lipstick, she looked like a rose covered in morning dew. A beauty like this, who wouldn't be moved? But I know my place. I understand the concept of matching social status. She is the aloof, ice-cold female CEO at the top, and am just a corporate slave at the bottom of society. Shen Yuxi pondered for a moment, then said bluntly, to be honest,
I quite like your family.
As soon as those words left her mouth, I temporarily didn't know how to respond, so I chose to stay silent. However, Shen Yuxi's next words left me a bit confused. Is there something about me you're dissatisfied with? Seeing that I still wasn't saying anything, Shen Yuxi decisively pulled a key out of her drawer. You don't need to rent a house anymore. This is a large villa at Thompson Riviera. Good lord. That house is worth at least tens of millions. She's just giving it to me like that.
But what does she mean by this?
I smiled and teased. Boss Shen, are you short on security guards? But Shen Yuxi cut straight to the chase, stating her demands. How about we make a deal? Continue playing the role of the good future daughter-in-law in your family group chat, and you have to help me deal with my family. I just looked over your file. You're 23 this year. You're 23 years old. I am already 28 years old. When it comes to being pressured into marriage, I'm suffering even more than you are.
What do you say?
At this point, I finally understood. Turns out this wasn't just a spur-of-the-moment whim. It was a premeditated scheme. To be fair, this older sister is still incredibly gorgeous, and my mom really does like her. If I suddenly went back and told her the truth, Mom wouldn't be able to handle it. Maybe I should just go along with her plan. After all, I'm not losing out on this deal. Seeing me stay silent, Shen Yuxi pulled another key out of her bag. This is a villa by Swan Lake. If you think it's too small, we can swap it for a bigger one. I immediately scolded myself. If I still don't agree, is she going to offer me a whole castle next? That's enough, Boss Shen. Take your keys back. I can still afford my own rent. However, regarding what you just said, we can give it a try. Hearing this, a flash of surprise crossed Shen Yuxi's beautiful eyes. She stood up, reached out her right hand. Her red lips curled into a meaningful smile.
Happy cooperating.
I guess this means I've officially boarded the CEO's pirate ship, huh? I have to say, sitting on this pirate ship feels pretty damn comfortable. Boss Shen. So when can I infiltrate enemy lines? I mean, join your family group chat to feel the care of the elders. At the mention of her family, Shen Yuki's expression wavered slightly. She sat back down in her chair. Crossing her legs, she said, I don't need you to join my family group chat. You just need to deal with my parents. So, in total, I only need to deal with 2 people. Well, that's easy then. I immediately breathed a sigh of relief. Then I heard Shen Yuxi's cold voice ring out. My parents are not easy to deal with. You'd better prepare yourself.
I'll explain everything to you tomorrow.
As we were talking, the clacking of high heels echoed from the hallway outside. The person arriving was Shen Yuxi's secretary, Si Qingqing. After 3 knocks on the door, Boss Shen, may I come in? Receiving permission, Si Qingqing finally walked in. Sorry. Boss Shen, I was taking a shower just now. I didn't hear the knock. I kept you waiting. But before she could finish her sentence, she was startled by the figure in front of her.
What the?
How did you get in here? It's so late. In Boss Shen's office, why is there a male security guard? Who let this guy in? Shen Yuxi said, this is Lin Yuan from the design department. I told him to come here. Hearing Shen Yuxi say that, Si Qingqing finally relaxed. She looked over at Lin Yuan. So this guy is Lin Yuan. 2 days ago, because of the old residential area renovation project, Boss Shen had lost her temper quite a few times. The final design they settled on was proposed by him. It was truly a genius design, something that countless other designers couldn't even come up with. Because of this design, Boss Shen even praised him during the meeting. You have to understand, getting a compliment from Boss Shen is as hard as reaching the sky. Boss Shen even mentioned in the office a few times that they needed to keep an eye on him, to cultivate him. So, Si Qingqing remembered this person particularly well. She just didn't expect to meet him in person. Looking at him now, not only does he have a talent for design, he's also quite good looking. Over 1.8 meters tall. He looks very clean cut. Even his sense of style is great, but it's so late. Why did Boss Shen call him to her office? Seeing that Shen Yuxi's assistant had arrived, Lin Yuan didn't plan on staying much longer. He walked up to Shen Yuxi's desk. I guess I came at a bad time. Saying that, he prepared to reach out. The next second, his gaze met Shen Yuxi's beautiful eyes, who said I wasn't going to drink it. This sentence left Si Qingqing completely dumbfounded. What exactly is their relationship? Actually, Shen Yuxi still hadn't eaten dinner tonight, but she didn't want to eat in front of Lin Yuan. She continued to lower her head. Leave the soup there.
You can go now.
You've got to be kidding me.
The lunchbox is still here, and so am I. Having lived in the Lin household for so many years, I still have some basic counter-reconnaissance skills, especially since this is the first time my mom sent soup to Shen Yuxi. If I don't bring this lunchbox back, wouldn't that mean she didn't eat it? Or if I don't see her eat it with my own eyes, do you think my mom won't overthink it? Shen Yuxi thought for a moment. This lunchbox didn't just hold a bowl of soup. It held the heartfelt care of an elder. If she didn't even take a single sip, it probably wouldn't be very appropriate, especially since she was currently bearing the title of Lin Yuan's girlfriend. She didn't say a word, she just quietly pulled the lunchbox toward herself. Beside her, Si Qingqing's eyes widened in shock. She even wondered if she was dreaming. Once again, Si Qingqing began to doubt Lin Yuan's true identity. Just who exactly is this guy? Could he be Boss Shen's long-lost younger brother? Otherwise, why would Boss Shen eat the food he brought? Looking at the massive bone inside, Shen Yuxi's delicate brows furrowed slightly. It wasn't out of disgust. It was just that the bone was way too big. Normally, when the maid cooked, the bones were all chopped into small pieces. A beef bone the size of a hand like this. It was Shen Yuxi's first time seeing one. She had absolutely no idea how to eat it. Seeing her frown and not touch her chopsticks, Si Qingqing nervously gulped. 10, if it's too much trouble, forget it. I can just go back and tell my mom that you already ate it. Saying that, Lin Yuan took 2 steps forward, intending to finish the soup himself. A flash of vigilance appeared in Shen Yuxi's eyes. Her tone left no room for refusal. Don't touch it. She then took the bone out, tore the meat off of it, and only then did she slowly put it into her mouth bit by bit. She slowly finished all the meat. Then Shen Yuxi picked up the container and tasted the broth. The rich beef flavor was incredibly fragrant. She set the lunchbox down in satisfaction and finally looked at Lin Yuan. "You can take it away now." Lin Yuan was stunned, but the one even more stunned than him was Si Qingqing.
Ugal EQ Bon X Ahim Bompo.
The relationship between this guy named Lin Yuan and Boss Shen is definitely not ordinary. "Please thank your auntie for me. This is the first time I've ever had such delicious beef soup." Lin Yuan was taken aback. He didn't expect the iceberg female CEO to actually know how to say thank you. But thinking about it, Lin Yuan clearly preferred this current version of the older sister. However, Lin Yuan didn't say anything. He grabbed the thermos and left the CEO's office. As soon as he got home, his mom started interrogating him. "Let me ask you, when did you and Zhaoji start dating?" From his mother's expression, it wasn't hard to see how much she adored this beautiful daughter-in-law. She's so pretty and sensible, and her family background is so good. There aren't many girls like her left. Just yesterday, he said he didn't have a girlfriend, and now a gorgeous woman falls right out of the sky. She has a car and a house, and Shez, even a company executive. Lin Yuan finally spoke up. To Unib Gunyan's song Buns Vaisnun 0. But Xiaoji is already 28 this year. Shez a bit older, so I didn't dare to tell you. So what if Shez older? Look at the society we live in now. As long as you two truly love each other, that's all that matters. Let me tell you, Xiao, she is a good girl. You better treat her well. Lin Yuan laughed and asked, "How do you know She's a good girl?" "How could I not know? We were just chatting. I asked if she was home yet, and she said she was cleaning the house. That way when you move in, you'll be a bit more comfortable." Saying that, she opened the family group chat for Lin Yuan to see for himself. Shen Yuxi had even sent a picture of the bedroom. The bed was huge and looked incredibly soft. There were also 2 large throw pillows on it. Lying on it would definitely be super comfortable. What followed was a scene of the whole family praising her together. To be honest, Lin Yuan still couldn't figure it out. When she was in his family group chat, she completely turned into a different person. The most unbelievable part was that she even sent a crying cutely emoji. As a result, he barely got any sleep that night. He clearly had insomnia. When he woke up the next day and checked the time, it was already 8 o'clock. He let out a sigh. Time to get up and continue providing for Shen Yuxi. She was his boss, after all. Only if he worked hard. Could the boss live a better life? So saying he was providing for her wasn't exactly wrong. Lin Yuan sluggishly got up and walked into the living room. He saw a plastic bag on the dining table, containing 4 piping hot steamed buns. He grabbed a bun and stuffed it into his mouth, putting on his jacket while eating. Only then did he head toward his little electric scooter. He arrived at the company at exactly 9 o'clock. He poured himself a cup of warm water D. While drinking, he took out his phone and started his daily check-in in the family group chat. It would have been fine if he hadn't looked, but seeing it gave him a shock. CEO Shen was truly dedicated to her role. At 6 a.m., she had already sent a message about going for a jog. She didn't forget to add a good morning. "Let's all do our best today." Following that were replies from his youngest aunt and his uncle's wife. There was even a reply from his mom. You really have to admit, the older people get, the earlier they wake up. The elders in the family all woke up super early, and they were very focused on healthy living. Hearing that Shen Yuxi got up to jog, they were beyond thrilled, saying things like, young people nowadays, it's really not easy for them to stick to jogging. His mom was even the first to speak up, hoping that in the future, Shen Yuxi could take him along to exercise more, to properly train his lazy body. Lin Yuan was speechless seeing this. Can jogging make you immortal or something? Seeing Lin Yuan chime in, his mom immediately replied, "Did you take the steamed buns on the table?" "I did." "The buns weren't good at all this time. Were those for you to eat?" "I made those for Zhaoji." "Did you eat them all by yourself?" No wonder he thought his mom was being unusually enthusiastic, even preparing breakfast for him. Turns out it was for Shen Yuxi. It wasn't that he didn't want to say it, but if he didn't eat the buns on his way to work, he'd have nothing else to do. So he ended up eating all 4 of them. Meanwhile, Shen Yuxi was sitting in her office drinking coffee, while browsing on her computer for tips on how to interact with the boyfriend's family. To her very core, Shen Yuxi was a deeply serious person. As long as it was something she wanted to do, she had to do it perfectly. Even pretending to be a daughter-in-law was no exception. Just as she was engrossed in reading, she received a private message on her phone. Boss Shen, please take a look at the family group chat. Shen Yuxi promptly opened the family group chat. It would have been fine if she hadn't looked, but seeing it gave her a shock. Shen Yuxi finally understood. This was because Lin Yuan had eaten all the buns his mom made for her, and Auntie was mad. She didn't know whether to laugh or cry, but at the same time, she felt an indescribable sense of warmth. "Auntie, please don't be mad. It's because lately I've been trying to lose weight. Eating steamed buns makes it easy to gain weight. I was the one who told Lin Yuan to eat them." Sure enough, the moment the future daughter-in-law spoke up, the target perfectly shifted from Lin Yuan to Shen Yuxi. "Xiaoxi, did that brat force you to say that? Just tell me. I'll stand up for you. I just saw that you've gotten thinner, so I wanted to nourish you a bit. Your work is so exhausting. How can you manage without eating something good? Whatever you like to eat. I'll make it for you tomorrow. And have Lin Yuan bring it to you? From now on, I'll take care of all your meals. Outside food isn't good for your health. Although Lin Yuan's mom was very fierce toward him, she was incredibly kind to others. Shen Yuxi never expected that auntie would want to take charge of her breakfasts. She pursed her lips, feeling inexplicably touched. To be honest, after working for so long, even her own biological mother had never asked how she was eating. The only thing they cared about was when the Shen family line would be continued. Touched as she was, Shen Yuxi had no intention of letting Lin Yuan's mom make breakfast for her every single day. That would really be too much trouble. How could she possibly feel okay with that? There is no need, auntie. Our company has a cafeteria, and the food is really good. Looking at Shen Yuxi's reply, Lin Yuan felt like he was watching a mutual admiration society. Although the company's food really wasn't bad, Lin Yuan still found it inexplicably funny. But funny or not, he decisively played along. That's right, Mom. Our boss is incredibly thoughtful. The cafeteria is genuinely great. Every day we get 4 dishes and a soup, and even chicken drumsticks. Lin Yuan was holding his phone, chatting away, when he heard his colleague Zhao Wang's voice. I just saw the living Yama. That bastard had a long face first thing in the morning. Like someone owes him money. He's definitely gonna come make things difficult for us later. The living Yama they were talking about was Dong Wanfeng, the manager of the design department. Not only did he have a big belly, but he also had a massive temper. Hearing about the living Yama, Dong Nan's face didn't look good before even seeing the guy. Everyone was already sighing in despair. I heard that old apartment complex project. It seems he didn't get any kickbacks from it this time. The materials weren't submitted the way he wanted either. He couldn't pocket any commission. It was an open secret that Dong Nanfeng had sticky fingers. Every time he loved to take the finalized design blueprints and secretly swap out the materials. But this old apartment renovation project was a focal project personally selected by Shen Yuxi, a star project. They were relying on this for promotion. If it wasn't done well, it would be hard to explain to CEO Shen. So they flat out refused to change the materials since Dong Nanfeng couldn't make any money off it. It was no wonder he was unhappy. While they were still gossiping, heavy footsteps echoed from the hallway. Lin Yuan, come here for a second. Hearing the living Yama call for Lin Yuan, everyone's eyes instantly darted toward him. It seemed Lin Yuan was the unlucky victim of the day. Dong Nanfeng's anger was definitely going to be taken out on him. Lin Yuan, however, didn't expect this.
Zao zup ijo ainbu job in not
Get in here. But he wasn't afraid at all. It wasn't like he had offended the guy. He calmly stood up and followed Dong Nanfeng out. Dong Nanfeng walked into his office and signaled for Lin Yuan to close the door. Seeing Lin Yuan close the door, he finally motioned for him to sit down. Before he even said another word, Lin Yuan was already certain that 9 times out of 10, this bastard was targeting the old apartment design blueprints. He just couldn't quite understand why Dong Nanfeng had so much nerve. How dare he scheme against a design blueprint personally assigned by Shen Yuxi? You've made quite a splash right after joining the company. Your future is practically limitless. After saying that, Dong Nanfeng's tone turned serious. However, once a person steps into society, it's a whole different ballgame. At school, as long as you get good grades, even if you don't listen to the teachers, you can still smoothly get into a prestigious university. But society isn't like that. You have to pay attention to the right time, the right place, and the right people. The young man, Lin Yuan, didn't say a word. Dong Nanfeng continued, hold on. Actually, I think very highly of you. As long as you do a good job, setting everything else aside, you'll definitely be on the list for official employment this time. Not just as a regular employee, but your benefits could even get a little bump. Lin Yuan just smiled and looked at him. He just wondered what this so-called doing a good job actually entailed. Dong Nanfeng leaned forward. It's very simple. I just need you to tweak your design a bit. No need to change the drawings, just the materials. They need a little adjustment. Then go explain it to CEO Shen. That shouldn't be too hard, right? Lin Yuan looked at this old fox. He wanted him to swap out the current materials, and then conveniently use the batch of materials under Dong Nanfeng's control. The materials on that list. Impressive. Meanwhile, back in the office where Lin Yuan worked, everyone was frantically gossiping about Lin Yuan being dragged away by the living Yama. Dong Nanfeng had been a manager for 5 years and managed to buy an apartment in Ziyuan Hoding, just relying on his monthly salary of 18,000. Could he really save enough to buy an apartment in 5 years? Regarding Dong Nanfeng's embezzlement, everyone felt as disgusted as if they had swallowed a fly. But since they were at the bottom of the corporate ladder, they were angry but didn't dare speak up. However, even if they couldn't say it to his face, venting behind his back was still an option. Just as they were gossiping passionately, they suddenly heard a knock on the door. Following that, Si Qingqing, wearing a white blazer dress, gently walked in. She was holding a black umbrella in her hand. Excuse me, is Lin Yuan here? Everyone in the company knew who Si Qingqing was. Usually, she would just be passing by, but today, she was suddenly looking for someone. What was going on? First thing in the morning, the manager looks for Lin Yuan. Now CEO Shen is looking for Lin Yuan too. Assistant C. Lin Yuan was called away by manager Dong. Si Qingqing thanked them, turned around, and headed toward Dong Nanfeng's office. Dong Nanfeng's office was at the end of the design department. Just as Si Qingqing reached the door, she faintly heard the conversation inside. Manager Dong, sir, you're making this really difficult for me. The materials I proposed are already the most cost-effective ones. Besides, this apartment complex is old and rundown. If the residents there could afford high-end materials, they wouldn't be living there in the first place. What do you mean by that? They just can't afford to buy a new house. It doesn't mean they don't have money for renovations. From Dong Nanfeng's somewhat impatient tone, it wasn't hard to tell that he disagreed with Lin Yuan. Lin Yuan chuckled. What you're talking about is a high-end apartment complex. Aren't there also places that cost 20,000 a square meter? Perhaps you've never been to that area to take a look. The people living in that complex, Nuri Tubu IPP Keys Bug, No Suvi Napugi UID, and a small portion are young people striving to make a living. First of all, the elderly would absolutely never spend that much money on renovations. As for the young people hustling, as soon as they save up enough money, they will definitely move out. Those apartments are too small, completely unsuitable for getting married. This means that for them, economical and practical is still the best option. To be honest, forcing designers to swap materials was something Dong Nanfeng had done plenty of times. But normally, designers didn't need to explain this much. This Lin Yuan patiently explaining things to him for half the day. Even a block of dead wood would have understood by now. He was doing it on purpose. If Dong Nanfeng wasn't in desperate need of money lately, there was no way he would force Lin Yuan to change the materials. After all, this design had already been finalized by Shen Yuxi. It was just that his mother-in-law had been in a car accident a few days ago, and the medical bills alone had already cost over 100,000. This old housing renovation project was a massive one. The design commission for these two buildings could rake in over 100,000. So no matter what happened today, he had to make Lin Yuan change the materials. Lin Yuan was just relying on the fact that his design was outstanding. A newbie who had only been here for a month, daring to go against him. Dong Nanfeng said sarcastically, I didn't expect designer Lin to have such a strong personality. Si Qingqing had originally just come to deliver the umbrella. Never expecting to overhear a conversation like this, she wanted to keep listening, but eavesdropping wasn't exactly a good look. She hurriedly knocked on the door. Hearing the knock, Manager Dong's face darkened as he looked toward the glass door. Seeing that it was CEO Shen's assistant, he quickly stood up, his expression turning incredibly enthusiastic. Assistant Sai, what brings you here? The expression on his face looked exactly like a disfavored concubine, seeing the emperor drop by for a visit. Si Qingqing smiled politely, her gaze shifting toward Lin Yuan, who was still sitting in his chair. Looking over, CEO Shen told me to bring you an umbrella. After saying that, she added another sentence. CEO Shen said that once you're done with your work, you should head over there. She has something to discuss with you. At this point, Dong Nanfeng was completely dumbfounded. He adjusted his glasses, looking at Si Qingqing in disbelief. And then at Lin Yuan. What in the world was going on? Why would CEO Shen send him an umbrella, and even tell him to come to her office after he finished his work? Whenever CEO Shen needed someone, wasn't it always? Come to my office immediately. Yet she was letting this kid wait until he was done, the 5-year veteran employee expressed. This was the first time he had ever seen anyone get this kind of treatment. Lin Yuan took the umbrella. He smiled politely. Si Qingqing, having delivered her message, shot Dong Nanfeng another glance before finally turning around and walking out. Looking at the umbrella in Lin Yuan's hand, Dong Nanfeng fell deep into thought. Sending documents or sending a bonus he could understand. But gifting an umbrella carries a very deep hidden meaning. A boss giving an umbrella to an employee, especially right after I pressured him to swap the materials. Dong Nanfeng suddenly felt a chill of fear. Right after I said that, CEO Shen sent this kid an umbrella. Is this her way of saying Hez under her protection? If that's really the case,
Aaron, I completely screwed.
the more Dong Nanfeng thought about it, the more terrified he became, breaking out in a cold sweat in the dead of winter. Rather than looking at Dong Nanfeng's fat face, Lin Yuan was much more curious about something else. What did the beautiful boss want with him? Don't tell me mom secretly drugged him again. If so, I need to go check on her right away. Thinking of this, Lin Yuan hurriedly stood up. Manager Dong, we're done talking here. I have things to do, so I'll be taking my leave. After finishing up with Dong Nanfeng, Lin Yuan turned around and headed straight to Shen Yuxi's office. Today, Shen Yuxi was wearing a coffee-colored suit, paired with a matching silk dress underneath, and coffee-colored high heels. The first impression she gave off was pure elegance. Her long, glossy tea-colored hair was neatly pinned up with a gold hair clip. It softened the sharp, professional look of the suit, giving her an overall aura of luxury, mixed with a hint of languor. Calm, yet incredibly high class. When Si Qingqing entered the office, She was sitting in her chair, expressionless, watching the interactions in Lin Yuan's family group chat. A cold, aloof female CEO secretly lurking in her employees' family group chat. No one would believe it if they heard it. CEO Shen, when I went to give Lin Yuan the umbrella, I happened to overhear Dong Nanfeng pressuring him to swap the materials. Hearing this, Shen Yuxi paused, the amusement in her eyes vanishing in an instant. Swap the materials? Yes, exactly that. Shen Yuxi slowly leaned back in her chair. Her beautiful eyes darkened, her tone taking on a deeper meaning. Is that so? It was obvious she didn't know about Dong Nanfeng swapping materials to pocket the kickbacks, but looking at her expression, she didn't seem all that surprised either. In a company with thousands of employees, 50% are just coasting by to collect a paycheck, and 30% just put on a show of working hard. Only 15% actually put in real effort, and the remaining 5% are exactly like Dong Nanfeng, the kind who constantly extort others and abuse their positions for personal gain. Shen Yuxi understood this perfectly well. It was a common disease in every company, compared to Dong Nanfeng's behavior. Shen Yuxi was much more interested in Lin Yuan, this highly talented intern, who also happened to be her fake boyfriend. What was his choice?
What did he say?
Shen Yuxi set her phone down, a look of deep intrigue crossing her face. He just told Lin Yuan to swap the materials. I think he must have quite a few material suppliers backing him long-term. This kind of person should be fired. He's a parasite to the company, the bad apple that spoils the bunch. Shen Yuxi cut her off, asking about Lin Yuan. Ching froze, the words catching in her throat. She obediently shut her half-open mouth, her wide eyes, staring at Shen Yuxi in sheer disbelief. At a time like this, CEO Shen, shouldn't you be decisively gathering evidence of Dong Nanfeng's crimes? Instead of asking what Dong Nanfeng said, you're asking about Lin Yuan. Aren't your priorities a bit mixed up? Thinking it was one thing, but she didn't dare say it out loud. Ching blinked. Lin Yuan hadn't said anything yet, before I got spotted, so I just came straight into the office. Afraid Shen Yuxi would scold her for not hearing the whole thing. She guiltily added, but it looked like Lin Yuan wasn't willing to do it. Hearing this, Shen Yuxi seemed to get the answer she wanted, a fleeting smile appearing in her eyes. This was the third time he had surprised her. The first time was his design draft. Even the company's senior designers
Couldn't meet her standards.
Lin Yuan not only met them, but exceeded her expectations. The second time was when he refused the house she offered him. The number of people who could do that could be counted on one hand, but he actually did it. The third time was right now. A freshly graduated intern, daring to go against his superior's orders. Is he really not afraid of getting fired? Dong Nanfeng's embezzlement was within her expectations, but Lin Yuan's performance was completely unexpected. It seems this fake boyfriend of mine doesn't just have a good IQ, but solid character as well. A sudden knock on the door interrupted Shen Yuxi's thoughts. Lin Yuan walked in, holding 2 cups of coffee. Ching glanced lightly at Shen Yuxi, turned around, and walked out. CEO Shen, you were looking for me. Actually, Shen Yuxi had already come up with a strategy to deal with her mother's constant nagging about marriage. Calling Lin Yuan here today was precisely for this matter. Shen Yuxi's mother was no ordinary woman. The two of them had been battling wits for years, and there wasn't a trick they hadn't used. She looked at Lin Yuan, leaning forward slightly, her fair hands clasped together, and resting on the desk, her beautiful eyes were filled with absolute seriousness. Have a seat. Seeing her serious expression, Lin Yuan couldn't help but feel a bit nervous. My mother is very hard to deal with. She might drop by for a surprise inspection, so I need some of your personal belongings. I'll give you an allowance. Go buy some new daily necessities and bring them over to my place when you have time. Her tone was completely devoid of emotion, sounding just like she was assigning a work task, but a stray lock of hair falling across her forehead made her look noticeably softer. The beautiful morning sunlight was shining down on her delicate, fair face. From this angle, Lin Yuan could clearly see his own reflection in her stunning eyes. There was no denying it. When this woman was serious, looking right at him, Lin Yuan unconsciously felt his heart skip a beat. After finishing their talk, Lin Yuan smiled and walked out. Back in the office, everyone was dying to know if Lin Yuan was still alive. First, it was Dong Nanfeng. Then, it was CEO Shen. Neither of those two were people to be trifled with. The gossip had just died down when they saw Lin Yuan with coffee in his left hand and an umbrella in his right, strolling in as calm as could be. Brother Yuan, what did CEO Shen want with you? Giving you an umbrella? What does that mean? Even though he couldn't figure it out himself, his intuition told him this umbrella wasn't simple. It rained yesterday, so I lent this umbrella to CEO Shen. She was just returning it today. The moment he said that, Xia Q breathed a sigh of relief. So that Fireyama didn't force you to swap the materials. Only an idiot would swap them. I didn't do it, Lin Yuan said without hesitation. Xia Chu didn't expect this kid to be so stubborn. So Fireyama didn't give you a hard time. Lin Yuan shook the coffee cup in his hand. Does this look like he gave me a hard time? Saying that, he tossed a cup to Xiaoqiu.
This one's for you.
I still prefer drinking tea. Looking at the coffee in his hand. Holy crap, isn't that guy a total cheapskate? He actually gave this to you. Life really is that unbelievable. Xiaoqiu was completely bewildered. The entire office was bewildered. What the hell was going on here? Old Yuan, who had been here for 3 years, noted that getting food out of Dong Nanfeng was a first. What was up with today? It was so bizarre, it was unbelievable. He didn't believe Dong Nanfeng would let Lin Yuan off the hook so easily, and even give him coffee on top of it. There was absolutely no way it was that simple. Lin Yuan also didn't expect his colleagues to be this nosy. He let out a sigh, looking at everyone with a helpless expression. Since you guys are all so curious, I'll just lay my cards on the table. To tell you the truth, CEO Shen is actually my girlfriend.
What?
You don't just dare to dream.
You actually dare to say it out loud.
Xiaoqiu was the first one who couldn't hold back. CEO Shen was basically a goddess. In the company, outside of work, she never gave any man a second glance. A total newbie actually dared to claim CEO Shen was his girlfriend. Even a 5-year veteran wouldn't have the guts for that. Don't let anyone else hear you say that. If word gets to CEO Shen, she might literally sew your mouth shut. Not joking. Hez, dead serious. Who is CEO Shen? Shez, an ice-cold demon boss. Someone that ruthless. If she found out Lin Yuan was making jokes about her behind her back, she really might sew his mouth shut. After gossiping in the office for half the day, it was suddenly 11:59. Just one more minute until they could hit the cafeteria for lunch. Quitting time. In the family group chat, Lin Yuan's sister Lin Kike tagged him again, showing off her lunch photo. A bowl of beef noodles, a chicken wing, and a cup of yogurt on the side. Lin Yuan could feel the sheer cluelessness radiating from his sister's photo.
Eating that much while recovering.
Careful. You're gonna get fat if you talk like that. Would my sister-in-law agree? Saying that, she immediately tagged Shen Yuqi. Lin Yuan was speechless. How does Shen Yuqi get dragged into absolutely everything? Shen Yuqi hadn't even said anything yet, but Mom immediately chimed in.
What are you two having for lunch?
Mom, we just got off work. We haven't even made it to the cafeteria yet. All right. Once you get to the cafeteria, send me a picture of your lunch. She had to make sure her precious daughter-in-law was eating well. If not, she'd have to start cooking for her. Lin Yuan wanted to slap himself in the face. Why didn't I just say I was too busy to eat lunch? Now look what happened! Damn it. Is she the type of person who eats at the cafeteria? I really didn't think this through. Lin Yuan sent Shen Yuqi a message. CEO Shen, how about I treat you to lunch? Shen Yuqi was actually secretly peeking at the chat, just waiting for Lin Yuan to come looking for her. Seeing his message pop up, a smug look uncontrollably appeared on her delicate face. Beautiful CEO. Lin Yuan knew it wouldn't be that simple. The demoness was starting to act up again. CEO Shen, I'm begging you. Looking at the message Lin Yuan sent, an image unconsciously popped into Shen Yuqi's head. The image of Lin Yuan sincerely begging for mercy in front of her. Kid, aren't you supposed to be so capable? Come to my office and learn some manners. As for Si Qingqing, she had already laid out the food on the coffee table in the office. Seeing Shen Yuqi looking at her phone, she spoke up cautiously. CEO Shen, your lunch is ready. Shen Yuqi replied without looking up. Get another portion of food. Si Qingqing stood frozen in place. She thought she had misheard. CEO Shen has been acting way too abnormal since last night. Normally, she only eats half a portion. Today, she wants 2 portions. Right at that moment, Dong Nanfeng knocked on the door. Come in. Shen Yuqi crossed her arms and glanced at Dong Nanfeng. Not doing your design work. Not making things difficult for the designers. What do you want with me? The iceberg spoke. Dong Nanfeng felt the temperature drop by 10 degrees. He was both freezing and panicking, so terrified that his palms and forehead were dripping with cold sweat. CEO Shen, I'm so sorry. My mother-in-law is severely ill. I really had no other choice, which is why I came up with the idea to swap the materials. I won't ever dare do it again. Won't dare do it again. You already did it, and you say you won't dare. Swapping materials without discussing it with the homeowner and going to the designer instead. Have you ever thought about what would happen if the homeowner decided to change the entire design? Her voice felt like it carried countless invisible swords, all aimed straight at Dong Nanfeng. Dong Nanfeng was so scared he almost stopped breathing. His legs couldn't stop shaking. CEO Shen, I'm sorry. I really won't dare do it again. I truly know I was wrong. Shen Yuqi gave a faint smile. Her pleasant, authoritative voice echoed through the office. I never accept apologies. If you make a mistake, you pay the price. If I forgive 1 Dong Nanfeng today, 10 more Dong Nanfengs will appear tomorrow. Dong Nanfeng sucked in a breath of cold air. His mind was buzzing loudly. It was over. He had elderly parents to care for and young kids to raise. Now his mother-in-law was in the hospital. His kids were about to start middle school. He needed money for absolutely everything. He was the sole breadwinner for the entire family. Losing his job meant his whole family would be out on the streets starving. Shen Yuqi was about to say something else when she felt her phone vibrate. Normally, whatever Shen Yuqi was about to say She would have completely cleaned out this bad apple first. But now with Lin Yuan's family group chat, she suddenly felt their messages were very important too. She picked up her phone and immediately saw Lin Yuan's message. Her slender fingers danced across the screen. "Don't call me CEO Shen anymore. It won't be good if you get too used to it." Lin Yuan was stunned. Then he breathed a sigh of relief. "Then I'll call you Xiao Qi like they do from now on. Xiao Qi. It's time to eat." Shen Yuki sat at her desk. Her beautiful almond eyes were glued intently to her phone screen. After a long moment, her lips curled up slightly. Her red lips showed a slightly unnatural expression. Xiao Qi compared to CEO Shen, the former felt official. The latter felt distant. Everyone in the family group chat were elders. It was natural for them to call her that, but she was 4 years older than Lin Yuan. Shouldn't he be calling her sister? Lin Yuan immediately reacted. "Then I'll call you Sister Qi from now on." Dong Nanfeng was still standing in front of the desk, sincerely apologizing. Right now, he looked just like a criminal waiting for his sentence. Is it life or death? You have to say something at least. Yet this CEO Shen simply refused to speak. Not only did she not speak, she just casually kept looking at her phone. He stared intently at Shen Yuki. Not even daring to breathe too loudly, Shen Yuki looked at the message Lin Yuan sent, a faint smile appearing on the corners of her mouth, a smile like a blooming lily, pure and beautiful. Dong Nanfeng had never seen CEO Shen smile so purely before. It was truly beautiful. It's just that right now, his mind was full of his own dirty deeds. He was so scared his soul was about to leave his body. Shen Yuki stretched her legs out, leaning back in her chair. She found a relaxed posture and continued chatting with Lin Yuan, completely ignoring the trembling Dong Nanfeng across from her. "What does Sister Qi want to eat?"
You pick the place I'll pay.
"No need. Just come eat at my office. Little Sai already went to buy food for you." What an understanding big sister. Replying to Shen Yuki's message, Lin Yuan decisively left the office and headed toward the elevator. Just as he reached the door to Shen Yuki's office, he heard a cold voice coming from inside. "Pack up your things and get out." Dong Nanfeng really didn't want to leave this job. Whether it was the benefits or the work environment, both were considered top tier if he left this place. He was afraid it would be very hard to find another job like it. CEO Shen. Shen Yuki leaned back in her chair, too lazy to care about him anymore. She coldly threw out one last sentence. Dong Nanfeng originally wanted to beg, but remembering Shen Yuki's gaze just now, that cold and dangerous look, he ultimately didn't dare open his mouth. He just let out a heavy sigh and quietly walked out. As soon as he stepped out, he saw Lin Yuan standing at the door. Lin Yuan looked at his retreating back, suddenly feeling a bit of pity for him. But there was no other way.
Wrong is wrong.
No matter the reason, it's no excuse for his embezzlement. In Lin Yuan's eyes, there was nothing to pity about a guy like that leaving. But then again, this big sister is seriously ruthless. Up until now, it's only been 2 hours, and the guy is already fired. Lin Yuan took a deep breath. Looks like I'm safe. It's best not to mess with her. Seeing Lin Yuan approach, the sharp glint in Shen Yunxi's eyes instantly vanished, replaced by a beautiful, soft starlight. She pointed at the dishes already laid out on the coffee table. "The rice will be here in a bit. Wait a moment." Lin Yuan nodded. After speaking, he finally looked at the coffee table and immediately froze. Vegetable salad, smashed cucumbers, stir-fried greens, and sweet and sour lotus roots. There were quite a few dishes, but not a single piece of meat or fish. How is anyone supposed to eat this? Seeing Lin Yuan dazed, Shen Yuki asked, "What's wrong?" "Not to your taste." "It's not just about taste. I literally don't even know where to start." Right now, he just wanted to ask one thing, big sister. "Since when did you become a Buddhist monk? Does a meal like this match your tens of millions in net worth? Lunch is great, but let's not do this next time." Lin Yuan took a deep breath and sat down at the coffee table. Shen Yukian was taken aback.
It's great, so why?
"Let's not do this next time." Regarding what Lin Yuan just blurted out, she was completely clueless. Just as she was feeling annoyed, a knock came from the door. Seeing Shen had returned with the rice, she walked in, instinctively glancing at the coffee table. Almost instantly, her eyes widened larger than brass bells. Shen Yuxi didn't expect Si Qingqing to make such a face. She didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Raising an eyebrow slightly, she asked gloomily, "What is it?" Si Qingqing remained silent. She had always thought that a woman like Boss Shen would definitely find a super domineering CEO for a boyfriend. Only a domineering CEO could match Boss Shen's cold and aloof soul. She never expected it to be this guy. The new intern, Lin Yuan, her impression of him was that he was smiley and humble. He even cracked jokes from time to time.
That kind of vibe has absolutely nothing to do with a domineering CEO. Okay?
Could it be that Boss Shen is into this type? This is just too unbelievable. Seeing him not moving, Shen Yuki's cold and arrogant voice carried a hint of amusement. "Why are you spacing out? Waiting for me to spoon feed you?" This Si Qingqing was always so loud and chaotic all day. She didn't act like an assistant at all. Hearing this, Si Qingqing hurriedly waved her hands. "Boss Shen, enjoy your meal. I'll be heading out now." After saying that, She quickly ran out. She didn't want to eat with Boss Shen. Boss Shen had been keeping her figure these past few days.
Eating like a rabbit.
She was a professional foodie. She didn't want to be a rabbit. Just now, when getting the rice, she saw that the cafeteria had braised pork trotters today. Chingking quietly slipped away. In the spacious office, only Lin Yuan and Shen Yuki were left. Shen Yuki sat on the sofa next to Lin Yuan, crossing her beautiful legs. She picked up the chopsticks on the table that Qingqing had laid out. With a graceful movement of her slender, fair fingers, she gently picked up a cherry tomato and popped it into her mouth, her red lips moving slightly. Watching the beauty eat, Lin Yuan gulped. Not because he was craving it, but because he genuinely didn't know where to start. How am I supposed to eat this? Lin Yuan was a bit curious. Sister Qian, do you normally only eat this stuff? I haven't had time to work out lately. If I want to keep my figure, I have to eat light. After Shen Yuki spoke, she picked up another cherry tomato. Lin Yuan was astonished. Good lord, she's already this skinny and still wants to lose weight. You couldn't blame Lin Yuan for being surprised. Shen Yuki's figure was truly stunning. Standing at 1.7 meters with perfect, slender shoulders, there wasn't an ounce of extra fat on her arms. Her tiny waist looked like it could be held in one hand, and her long legs were perfectly straight and slender. Absolutely flawless. Delicate and fair. So supple it looked like water could be pinched out of it. Someone like this still wants to lose weight. Shen Yuki saw the overly shocked expression on his face and found it amusing. A hint of joy slipped into her arrogant tone. Flattering me won't get you a raise. He had to admit, this guy really knew how to compliment someone. It seems my image in his heart is quite high. Health is the greatest asset of the revolution. A good figure is just a bonus. After saying that, he looked at the sea of green on the table again. I need to add a chicken leg today. If she isn't eating meat, I still have to. Lin Yuan decisively stood up and ran out of the CEO's office. He had to go buy a chicken leg. Having lunch without meat.
Isn't that just a joke?
Watching Lin Yuan's retreating back, Shen Yuxi's bright eyes showed a hint of helplessness. We're in the middle of eating. Where is he going? Leaving the CEO's office, Lin Yuan headed straight for the first floor cafeteria. He grabbed 2 chicken legs and noticed they also had some nuts. He couldn't resist grabbing a portion of nuts too. Chicken legs and nuts. Thinking about Shen Yuki wanting to lose weight, he conveniently bought a cup of yogurt as well. Only then did he carry the food he had gathered and quickly sprinted back to the CEO's office. With Lin Yuan gone, Shen Yuki simply stopped eating. Instead, she returned to her desk to review some documents. Before she could even turn 2 pages, she heard Lin Yuan's voice. Chan Can, come eat this. The chicken legs in our cafeteria are seriously amazing. Because it was winter, the temperature was quite low. Lin Yuan was afraid the meat would get cold, so he walked very fast. As he came through the door, he looked a bit out of breath. Beneath his buzz cut on his broad forehead, a fine layer of sweat had formed. He was holding 2 disposable lunchboxes in his hands, smiling at her. When this clean-cut young man looked at her, his eyes and brows were full of smiles. Shen Yuxi was slightly taken aback. So he was in such a rush, just to go buy chicken legs for her. This guy actually seemed to know how to take care of people. Buying food is just buying food. What's the rush? Her face remained expressionless, but her fair hand pulled a tissue from the box and handed it over. Along with the tissue came Shen Yuxi's unique fragrance. There are reports that say, smelling a scent you like will make you subconsciously relax and put you in a good mood. Lin Yuan felt this report was spot on. This was the second time he smelled Shen Yuki's scent. It wasn't perfume. It was a faint floral scent, like lilies blended with jasmine. Subtle and elusive. Lin Yuan really liked this scent. He casually took the tissue. When their fingertips brushed against each other, he could clearly feel the softness of her fingers. The two sat back down on the sofa. Lin Yuan picked up his chopsticks, grabbed a chicken leg, and placed it in Shen Yuki's bowl. Boss Shen, this chicken leg is a must-order at our cafeteria, because he ran fast. The chicken leg was still steaming hot. Lin Yuan was very satisfied with this. After saying that, he put the other one in his own bowl. Once the chicken legs were sorted, Lin Yuan placed the yogurt in front of Shen Yuxi. Drinking yogurt is the best for weight loss. It promotes digestion. Looking at the yogurt in front of her and the chicken leg in her bowl, a strange feeling began to spread in her heart. His care was genuine. It wasn't flattery, nor was it a deliberate attempt to curry favor. It was just like the elders in his family group chat. Natural, sincere, and casual. It made people feel very comfortable. She didn't expect this carefree guy to have such a thoughtful side, just so she could eat a hot chicken leg. He ran until he was sweating. Knowing she was losing weight, he specifically brought back yogurt. Looking at him, Yuxi inexplicably felt a trace of fondness. In the prime of his youth, with clear skin, handsome, and quite capable too. Someone like him should be very attractive. So why didn't he have a girlfriend yet? Shen Yuxi's beautiful eyes shifted slightly, looking at Lin Yuan curiously. Why are you dating anyone? Lin Yuan swallowed the rice in his mouth. That's a sharp question. Why are you dating anyone? Shen Yuxi didn't expect Lin Yuan to turn the question on her. She said flatly, dating means having to get married. Marriage is basically a gamble, and reality has proven that 9 times out of 10 you lose the bet. I don't like gambling. Lin Yuan didn't hesitate at all. I'm not as deep as you think. It's just that nobody wants to date me. After saying that, he stuffed a piece of pork trotter into his mouth. Right after graduating, he poured all his energy into international competitions. He barely had enough time, let alone time to find a partner. Such an answer was so incredibly honest and straightforward. So straightforward that Shen Yuxi couldn't hold back, and burst out laughing right then and there, seeing her brows relax, starlight dancing in her charming eyes, and her red lips curving into a smile. Lin Yuan felt the temperature in the entire office rise. She was genuinely smiling so happily. But could you tell me? What's so funny about this? Laughing so genuinely like that is going to make me really embarrassed, you know? Seeing Lin Yuan's resentful gaze, Shen Yuxi smiled radiantly. I just didn't expect the reason to be so simple. Such an outstanding guy, yet nobody likes him. I haven't been graduated for long. I'm in the prime of my youth. You're making it sound like I've let down 8 generations of my ancestors. Speaking of auntie, Shen Yuxi frowned slightly. Oh right, we still haven't taken the picture. After saying that, she hurriedly picked up her phone. How could she forget something so important? She quickly tapped into the family group chat, decisively snapped a photo, and sent it to the group. Su Kuifan had been waiting for Shen Yuxi's message for over half an hour. Hearing her phone ping, she didn't even bother washing the dishes. She decisively pulled off her gloves and grabbed her phone. Sure enough, her daughter-in-law had spoken. She excitedly tapped on the photo. But the more she looked at it, the more something felt off. The distance between these 2 meals was too far. Logically speaking, this is their honeymoon phase. They should be wishing they could share the same bowl of rice. But in this photo, one meal is in the top left corner, and the other is in the top right corner. This proves the 2 of them are sitting very far apart. On this side, seeing Shen Yuxi send the photo, Lin Yuan also put down his chopsticks. He picked up his phone, ready to wait for his mom's reply. Normally, when Shen Yuxi spoke, it wouldn't take more than 3 seconds for his mom to absolutely reply to the message. But today, there was no reaction for half a minute. Intuition told him that something was definitely wrong. He quickly tapped on the photo Shen Yuxi had sent. With one look, he spotted the clue. Don't be fooled by his mom's usual easygoing nature. Whenever it came to his marriage, she was as sharp as a needle. There was a problem with this photo. Lin Yuan briefly explained it to Shen Yuxi. He even analyzed his mom's current mood and figured out more than half of what she was thinking. After Lin Yuan's explanation, Shen Yuxi also felt that things weren't looking good. So what do we do now? Unless they sent an intimate photo of the 2 of them, they wouldn't be able to make up for it. It's just that this request wasn't something he could easily say out loud. Shen Yuxi looked at Lin Yuan. Right now, he was holding his phone, trying to think of a way. This should solve the problem, right? Let's take a picture holding hands. Without hesitation, she sat next to Lin Yuan. As a pleasant fragrance wafted over, Shen Yuxi's captivating queen-like voice rang out. Give me your hand. Lin Yuan froze for a moment. He instinctively blinked, even though he had just thought about wanting to hold Boss Shen's hand. Actually doing it now made him more or less a bit panicked. He blinked and obediently offered his hand. The next second, Shen Yuki's cool arm draped over his arm. Her slender, fair hand slid up along his forearm and finally covered his palm. Right after, their 10 fingers intertwined. Big sisters. Palm was slightly cold, and the skin on the back of her hand was even softer and more delicate. Holding a hand like this, Lin Yuan's heartbeat involuntarily sped up. Aside from holding his little sister's hand when they were kids, he had never held another woman's hand. Don't be fooled by Shen Yuxi taking the initiative. She was actually panicking inside. Even her voice carried a hint of tension. This was her first time holding a guy's hand, especially when she squeezed slightly. That solid sense of security enveloped a secret thrill. Lin Yuan held up his phone and decisively pressed the shutter. The whole process was seamless. The photo captured the guy's hand, completely wrapping around the girl's slender, fair hand. It looked full of protectiveness. With their lunch as the background, it added an extra layer of warmth. Lin Yuan was very satisfied with this photo. He held the phone out in front of Shen Yuxi. My photography skills aren't bad, right? Shen Yuxi's face flushed red. Trying to look calm, she glanced at Lin Yuan. Could you let go before you speak? Are you addicted to holding it?
Why haven't you let go yet?
I froze, instinctively looking down at my hand. Oh, I still haven't let go.
No, wait, sister.
No, wait, sister. Listen to me explain. The phone buzzed. I quickly let go of her hand. Looks like I really do understand my mom best. Su Kuifan had indeed replied to the message.
You brat? Don't just focus on eating by yourself.
Take good care of little Xi. Seeing the message from Su Kuifan, both of them felt much more relieved. Perhaps because of the hand holding just now, the atmosphere had taken on a slightly unnatural vibe. Neither of them said anything else. They both picked up their chopsticks and started eating. Just as they were about to finish eating, Shen Yuxi's phone rang. The caller ID displayed Mom. The moment she answered the call, I clearly saw in her beautiful eyes
A flash of helplessness.
I didn't say anything and just kept eating. Your dad already said it. If you plan on staying like this forever, then tell us early so we can go adopt 2 kids. That way when you're old, you'll have someone to take care of you. And it won't get to the point where the Shen family's business has no heir. Even if you never get married your whole life.
Well, make sure you have both a son and a daughter.
On the other end of the line was a middle-aged woman. Her attitude was very nice, and her voice was gentle. It's just that those words were incredibly harsh to the ear. I couldn't help but sigh in amazement. This big sister's mom is even fiercer than mine. No boyfriend. Straight to adopting kids. Terrifying. Shen Yuxi seemed to be used to this kind of forced marriage pressure. She was already too familiar with it. She had no expression, just flatly saying, if you two want to adopt, I have no objections. I'll explain it to my boyfriend later. That it's dad's illegitimate child. People's gossip is a terrifying thing. That's why he asked you to help raise him. After all, the Shen family has a massive business. Having an illegitimate child isn't exactly surprising. She said it so casually, like she was talking about the weather. I almost spit out my food. The person on the other end of the line didn't seem surprised by this tone at all. They've been bickering like this for a long time, but she was genuinely shocked. You have a boyfriend. Shen Yuxi glanced at Lin Yuan. She replied expressionlessly, I do. The person on the phone sounded skeptical. Don't tell me this is just another trick to deal with us. Did you make this all up? Just to mess with us. Let me tell you something. The truth will always come to light. And I wasn't born yesterday. Whether it's true or not, I'll know once I come over and see for myself. I'm busy with work. I'm hanging up. After Shen Yuxi said that, she decisively hung up the phone. Just from this phone call alone, I can guarantee this auntie is definitely not easy to deal with. I tentatively spoke up. Sister Ji, was that your aunt? Shen Yuxi nodded. She clearly hadn't shaken off her frustration yet.
You heard everything.
Why are you even asking?
She stood up, poured a glass of water, and walked over to the window. So, this is exactly why. I need you to bring your clothes over. And not just your clothes. We have to create the illusion that we're living together. I gulped. So we're really doing this, huh? We actually have to live together. Shen Yuxi crossed her arms. Her eyes were full of absolute certainty.
That's right.
Ever since I mentioned it in the family group chat about us living together. Then you regretted it and got a headache. I didn't expect the big boss to play this kind of game. I couldn't help but start fantasizing about my days living with the boss. The boss wearing a silk nightgown giving me a massage, paired with that pleasant queen-like voice of hers. Realizing my thoughts were wandering too far, I quickly snapped back to reality. At that moment, Si Qingqing had just returned from lunch. She originally wanted to check if Boss Shen had finished eating, so she could clear the dishes. But unexpectedly, right as she reached the door, she heard Boss Shen's voice. I'll send you the address. Make sure you come over tonight. Be there after work, or else? Si Qingqing's face turned visibly red in an instant.
Oh my god, they're moving way too fast.
It's only been one day and they're already having a late-night rendezvous. At this rate, in a couple of days, won't Boss Shen be going on maternity leave? While she was still spacing out, she saw me walking out of the office. Si Qingqing blushed. Hello, Designer Lin. Hez President Shen's boyfriend now. If I give him a bad attitude, what if President Shen replaces me? I wouldn't even have a place to cry. I looked at her. I didn't know whether to laugh or cry, but trying to explain it seemed pointless. With this kind of thing, the more you explain, the worse it looks. I headed back to the design department. It was a bit empty. There weren't many people around. I sat down and logged into the International Design website. After logging in, I clicked on the registration tab. A message popped up. Congratulations, your registration is successful. The competition will begin on December 18th. Looks like I'm officially registered. The 18th is still 2 weeks away. I exited the page. Suddenly, I noticed my notifications had spiked to over 90 today. I clicked to check them out. Divi Orgulpon 0. Underneath the design draft I posted not long ago, someone was provoking me. The provocateur's name was Liao Yuan Muge. Hez a designer with quite a large following. You could consider him a minor influencer.
Liao Yuan Muge.
Forgive me for being blunt, but this piece is absolute garbage in my eyes. It has 0 unique features. It completely fails to highlight the minimalist style, sing burp labuthuan de papel, followed by a picture of a minimalist design draft with the same theme as mine. Below that were countless comments. Xiao Qingyi, I still think God Yuan's design is better. It fits market demands much better. Drafting is hard. Harder than ascending to heaven. I feel like Muge's draft is the true work of a master. Compared to this, God Yuan's draft doesn't seem to have any special flair. Don't speak. Is this Muge guy just here to leech off God Yuan's clout?
What the hell is this? Leech, have you even seen how many followers Muja has?
As for leeching clout, I, a member of the Mu army, refuse to accept this. As for this designer, Liao Yuan Muge, I actually know of him. He has a decent fan base. Hugh Ignenbuna Himbugini 103 burp unalu.
Boogie is my top all ion bu una him hu kem buwak ugal.
Honestly, I just threw this design together casually, mainly to meet the minimalist demands of the majority of clients. Nowadays, most people choose a minimalist style for their homes. The main goal is still to optimize space. While keeping it minimalist, it can also free up a few extra square meters of space for residential areas where every inch of land is worth its weight in gold. This kind of design is the most practical. In the comments, quite a few people thought my draft was good, and quite a few thought Liao Yuan Muge's draft was better. I wasn't really interested in the comments. After all, everyone has their own style. However, I had a huge problem with Liao Yuan Muge's draft. The title clearly says minimalist, but this retro style has absolutely nothing to do with it. Using a semicircular brick wall
With polished cement walls.
and cement floors, it feels like if you just tossed a torch in there, you could sit on the floor and start roasting a wild chicken. I couldn't help but comment, bro.
Let's put aside the issue of whether this is off topic or not.
Have you ever considered how the people living in it would feel? Are they supposed to devolve back into cavemen? I really can't agree with this.
You call this kind of design a masterstroke?
More like the stroke of an amateur. Designing isn't just about aesthetics. More importantly, you have to consider the convenience of the residents. With this arched doorway, you'd have to duck every time you go in and out. You're telling me that wouldn't be annoying. Criticisms aside, I still decided to draw another draft to make up for the flaws in my previous one. I closed the website. I picked up the pencil on my desk, getting ready to draw a sketch. By now, the people who went to lunch had returned. It was 1:30 p.m. Some were chatting quietly. Some were scrolling on their phones. Everyone was doing their own thing. Shu turned his head and saw me. Lin Yuan, holding a pencil, hunched over the desk with an incredibly serious expression. He couldn't help but be curious. Shaolin, what are you doing? Technology is so advanced nowadays. There's plenty of drafting software out there. Generating a draft is way more convenient than drawing by hand. It's the standard now. Most designers just draw directly on the computer. I still prefer sketching on paper first. Once I'm satisfied, I'll digitize it. But Lin Yuan still preferred hand drawing. It was like making a rough draft. Only after drafting do you write the final answer on the exam paper. Just felt an itch to doodle a bit. I said, my hands never stopping. Hearing that, I was drawing by hand again. Shu was extremely surprised.
Damn, you're actually hand drawing.
You know, it only takes 3 minutes with software, right? Drawing by hand takes an hour. Plus, you still have to make edits, and it doesn't even look as good as a computer render. Hearing that I was still hand drawing. It wasn't just Shu. The others who had just walked in were also shocked. No way, Brother Yuan. You still draw by hand. Xiao Wang adjusted his glasses. He spoke as he walked over to me. He mainly just wanted to see my draft. After all, I had just joined the company and already produced a draft that surpassed the designs of the senior designers. I could read him like a book. He genuinely wanted to see more of my designs, so he could study and learn from them. Seeing Xiao Wang walk over, I smiled. What's up? Trying to steal my trade secrets, I joked, generously handing him the draft to look at. Honestly, it was just a rough sketch. Aside from the basic layout of the house, you couldn't really make out anything else. He frowned. I can't really see anything at all. Isn't this kind of pointless? I haven't even started the actual design yet. How could you possibly see anything? Can't you tell? This is my minimalist style, I joked. Xiao Wang shook his head. With a serious face, he said, no, it's not. Hearing our exchange, Shu also got curious. He walked over wanting to see this minimalism that Xiao Wang couldn't figure out. He took one glance and shot me a glare. Give it a rest. You only know how to bully Xiao Wang. This is just a layout. How are you supposed to see a style from this? I laughed. Exactly. Brother do you usually browse Kunin? Kunin is the abbreviation for the International Design website. The English name translates to Kunin. Shu is considered a veteran designer. How could he not browse Kunin? He chuckled. What's up? Want me to follow you? Trying to trick me into becoming your fan. I joked back. That's not a bad idea. Why don't you become my fan? Honestly, it was just a joke. Even the top designers on Kunin only have a little over 100,000 followers, but my account has only been registered for a little over a month. Loa una Lucy, peep top all in buos. It was clear that quite a few designers recognized my work. At the mention of Kunan, Zhao Lin, who was scrolling on his phone, couldn't stay calm anymore. He looked at everyone excitedly.
Oh, right. Speaking of Kunin,
Last night, two heavyweights got into a fight. Lu Manman Chi Shuyon and Liao Yuan Muge got into an argument. To be exact, Muge started a debate with God Yuan. Don't let my usually laid-back demeanor fool you. Whenever design is brought up, I get fired up immediately. Seeing Zhao Lin talk, his eyes practically lit up. What do you guys think of Muge's draft? That draft is seriously outstanding. Xiao Lin pouted. It was as if Muge's work was appearing right before his eyes again. I was speechless at him. Holy crap, God Yuan replied. Looks like the gods are clashing. Chen Kexin, sitting at the back, also joined the conversation. He had just been browsing the web too. He didn't expect to see God Yuan's response to Muj. He instantly got excited. You have to understand, Liao Yuan Muj is one of the star designers at Shenzhen Company. Has someone who charges a design fee of 1,000 yuan per square meter. Out of 10 clients, 9 of them specifically ask for Wu.
Moo.
The sales department practically worships him. It's just a pity that designer Wu has a terrible temper. He loves cursing people out, so he doesn't really have any friends. The only person he can hold a conversation with is probably Nan Huan, who is also a top designer like him. Muj is seriously top tier. Boon in Viib by Onal. If only I could be like Muj, that would be amazing. Everyone chimed in one after another. They started expressing their admiration for Liao Yuan Muge. It wasn't necessarily genuine admiration. It was just because he was a top designer. Plus, his drafts were so beloved by clients. There had to be a reason for his success. If they personally said they didn't like it,
Wouldn't that just prove?
that they didn't understand design at all.
Wouldn't that make them a laughingstock?
So, to avoid making others think they were clueless, even if they didn't like it, they still had to say they did. Van Pia Pibe Apu Unzup Ap Niu Boogie. How could they be wrong? It was very clear that in everyone's eyes, Wu Mu held the status of a master. Looking at their agreeing faces, I stared in sheer disbelief. My dear seniors. So you guys actually like that kind of design from Liao Yuan Muge? Brother Lin. Honestly, I also think God Yuan's design is better. Xiao Wang looked at me seriously. While they were talking, Wu Mu and Nan Huan walked in from outside. The top designers had their own independent offices. The environment was very nice, but if they wanted to head back to them, they had to pass through this public area. Seeing Liao Yuan Muge himself return, brother, he quickly said loudly, Xiao Wang, when did you get down here? Brother Mu is the idol of most people in our company. He Shu was a seasoned veteran. He handled things very tactfully and was well liked by everyone.
He never made enemies with anyone.
He said this specifically for Wu Mu to hear, just to curry favor. But unexpectedly, I shrugged.
All I can say is,
Old Hess taste has completely detached from the majority of designers. Is that minimalism? Calling it a return to primitive times would be more accurate. My words carried a hint of sarcasm. This was the first time Wu Mu had ever heard someone in the company talk about his design like that, especially a newly arrived intern. He couldn't help but glare at me coldly.
Where exactly do you see a problem with that design?
Everyone heard the disdain in Wu Mu's tone. He Shu panicked. Xiao Lin panicked too. Everyone was panicking. He Shu truly didn't expect me to suddenly say something like that. If he had known, he wouldn't have said that even if you beat him to death. He originally just wanted to suck up. For things to turn out like this was incredibly awkward. It looked like he was intentionally trying to start a fight. Wu Mu was actually a very skilled designer. His family background was also very good. His father and Shen Yuxi's father were considered friends. Right after graduating, he came straight to Shenzhen. Even an idiot could see he had feelings for President Shen. Furthermore, rumor had it that because of this, President Shen had a massive argument with her family. Later, for some unknown reason, she still compromised. As a result, Wu Mu smoothly started working there the next day. But aside from work, the two of them rarely even spoke to each other, even though it didn't seem like President Shen had any interest in him. Everyone knew Wu Mu wasn't a simple guy, someone that even President Shen couldn't do anything about. Who would dare mess with him? Zhao Lin chimed in. Designer Wu, I actually happen to have a design draft right now. I was hoping you could take a look at it for me. Should I go grab it for you right now? Wu Mu had never once respected the junior designers in this public area. Not only did he ignore Zhao Lin's words, he didn't even bother to spare him a glance. His sharp eyebrows twitched slightly. His phoenix eyes stared daggers at me. Well, Lin Yuan shrugged. Have you seen that draft? Wu Mu's tone was flat. I've seen it. Whenever design was brought up, I instantly became energized, serious, and meticulous. I looked at Wu Mu with a stern expression. Using an arched doorway for the kitchen design completely ignores the user experience. That's point number 1. Point number 2. For a small apartment bathroom, the ideal setup is separating the wet and dry zones. But to save space, he didn't separate them. Not only that, he even added a wooden tub. Visually, it elevates the space. But it leads to a major problem. A large area staying damp for long periods will breed bacteria and easily rot the wood. Wu Mu frowned. The expression on his face turned a bit ugly. He had an impression of this guy. His name was Lin Yuan. He had merely drawn up a draft for an apartment complex and gotten a few compliments from Shen Yuki, but looking at his attitude now, he seemed to completely look down on his design. The forest is big, so it has all kinds of birds. There really are all kinds of people in this world, daring to question his work. How ridiculous. If design isn't for aesthetics, then what is it for?
What bacteria problem?
What material problem? It was entirely Lin Yuan's brain that had a problem. I can't agree with that. I figured I could easily point out 3 or 5 more flaws. I had so much I wanted to say. My mouth couldn't help but fire off like an extended Gatling gun.
Yurto guys were prebuni parpart.
People these days are so fierce. Can't he see Wu Mu's murderous glare? And he still dares to keep talking. Seeing that I seem to have more to say. 194 Ja I Bieja. N up burn Kwaion. I'm telling you, Xiaolin. I remember, you still have an unfinished drawing.
You'd better hurry up and get it done.
Xiaolin chimed in. Exactly. Brother Mu is a god-tier designer. He thinks way further ahead than we do. I looked at this design, and it's exceptionally good. You could even call it a textbook example. You should just focus on your own drawings. Getting officially hired soon is what actually matters. If you keep talking, you're really gonna get yourself killed. Wu Mu looked at me coldly. You're a fan of Lu Manmen Chi Shuyuan, aren't you? With such a toxic mouth. You're exactly like your idol. Just now, Nanhuan was still talking about that Lu Manman. The house they designed is only fit for monkeys. I'm a famous designer after all. To dare say something like that is just going too far. Not necessarily. That work of his actually does have a few minor issues. A lot of parts feel like they were done half-heartedly. To be completely honest, when I submitted that drawing, I actually just sketched it out casually. I never revised it, nor did I look deeper into it. Looking back at it now, that drawing really does have a few minor issues. But compared to Liao Yuan Muge's work, those don't even count as problems. He was just that confident in his own drawing. Wu Mu initially thought that he was a fan of Lu Manman Chi Shu Yuan, so he could somewhat understand why he had such a huge problem with him. But hearing this answer, he couldn't help but let out a cold sneer. A lowly intern daring to criticize two major designers. What an arrogant, conceited fool. He revealed a look of utter disdain. He turned and walked toward his office. I stood there, dumbfounded. I just felt like this designer Wu seemed a bit off somehow. I turned to look at Xia Shu and Jiao Lin, who were full of anxiety. I couldn't help but ask out of curiosity. What's wrong with you two? Wasn't it just a design discussion with a big shot designer? Look at how terrified you guys are. Xiaolin wiped the sweat from his neck.
You really are my good bro.
Do you even know who Wu Mu is? I froze. It was just a design discussion. What does it matter who he is? Colleagues having a normal discussion about someone else's work, sharing their perspectives with each other. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Xia Shu sighed, that helpless expression on his face.
Looked exactly like that forced fake smile meme.
Wu Mu is Liao Yuan Mu gay. Who? My pupils dilated in shock. I immediately stared at Wu Mu's retreating back. Stunned. I was completely stunned. Now he finally understood
Why the whole office was so obsessed with Liao Yuan Muge.
What kind of shitty colleagues are these? You should have told me earlier. Damn it, or ain't you just setting me up? I was just complaining. I didn't think you'd blurt it out so fast. Complaining is one thing. But to be completely honest, even if I had known he was Brother Mu beforehand, at most I would be just sugar-coated my words to praise him. That's just impossible. Meanwhile, Shen Yuqi sat behind his massive desk. Warm sunlight streamed through the huge floor-to-ceiling windows. He rested his chin on one hand, his eyes falling on the computer screen in front of him. Shen Yuqi was also a design student. Combined with the fact that he chose this path, well, it was born out of passion, after all. So he often looked at complex design drafts. Whenever he saw a design he liked, he would slap the table in praise, completely in awe of it. As for the trashy ones, he'd scroll past them in a flash, not even willing to give them a second glance. Just now, as soon as he opened the website, he immediately saw Lu Manman Chi Shu Yuan's work being turned into a massive spectacle by Liao Yuan Muge. The fans on both sides were locked in a fierce back-and-forth argument. You have to understand, a post with hundreds of thousands of clicks. The moment Shen Yuqi saw it, he felt sick to his stomach. An indescribable layer of disgust and helplessness clouded his eyes. His intuition told him that damn Wu Mu was acting up again. This guy Wu Mu walked around all day with a self-righteous, holier-than-thou look on his face. The main reason Shen Yuqi had no fondness for him was his personality. He was too obsessed with his own style and incredibly full of himself. Just saying a single sentence to him could easily make you feel extremely uncomfortable. If his dad hadn't said that as long as he kept Wu Mu around, had agreed to invest 30 million into his company, he wouldn't have kept this kind of person in the company even if you beat him to death. The thing he hated most about this guy was that he always loved to secretly check his account's browsing history. As long as he liked to post, Wu Mu would inevitably go to that person's account and start barking in the comments. Like a rabid dog, it made people grit their teeth in pure hatred. And this drawing of mine happened to be the one he had liked 2 days ago. Speaking of which, Shen Yuqi really admired this designer named Lu Manman Chi Shu Yuan. From the moment he saw his first design draft, he felt that this person was a rare genius. He even secretly posed as the company's HR and sent him recruitment info twice. It's just that he never responded at all. He just assumed that big shot designers were usually arrogant. Only listed companies could catch their eye. It was normal for him to look down on Shen Xing. In the past, whenever this kind of thing happened, those designers would just ignore Wu Mu. choosing to turn a blind eye. So every time, it would eventually blow over peacefully. But this time was different. This Lu Manmanchi Shuion fought back directly. Shen Yuki just felt puzzled. As expected of the designer he liked, not only was his work good, but his standards were high too. To describe it in 4 words, kindred spirits. This kind of rabid dog needed to be dealt with harshly. He decisively commented below, "I gotta say, Brother Mu is trash. Kitchen magic is truly a fatal blow." After saying that, he still didn't feel satisfied. So he sent a private message to Lu Manman Chi Shuion. "This kind of rabid dog needs to be taught a serious lesson. Absolutely do not hold back. I suggest you take out a high-interest loan if you have to, just to crush him." Shen Yuki had thought it through. Since Lu Manman Chi Shuion already couldn't stand Wu Mu, and his fans were acting so overbearing, why not hire a bunch of internet trolls to muddy the waters and teach Wu Mu a lesson? He had to make him understand that, other than his parents and his own dad, no one else in this world was going to coddle him. Whichever designer he liked, Wu Mu would go and step on them. Did he really think he was some kind of god? Give him an inch, and he takes a mile. He just keeps pushing his luck. Actually, he had been harboring this thought for a while now. The last few times the designers he liked got flamed, he had thought of using this method. It was just a pity that those designers, for some unknown reason, all chose to ignore it. This made Shen Yusi very angry, but this time was different. This time, Lu Manman Chi Jiyuan had firmly fought back, so she felt there was hope. Her mood even improved significantly. At this moment, I was scrolling through the post, feeling annoyed, when I suddenly saw this message. "Melancholy, this kind of rabid dog needs to be taught a serious lesson. Absolutely do not hold back. I suggest you take out a high-interest loan if you have to, just to crush him." My eyebrows twitched. This person seemed to be the exact same one who, a while ago, kept telling me to join Shenxing, an HR rep. So I didn't reply, and just quietly went to apply for the job. I didn't expect him to send me a message today. Moreover, Lin Yuan, even through the screen, could smell a thick murderous intent, as if there was some deep-seated blood feud. Normally, I probably would have just glanced at it and still not replied, but I was feeling pissed off anyway. Suddenly seeing this sentence, I burst out laughing on the spot. It was clearly my business. So why did it seem like he was even angrier than I was, suggesting I take out a loan just to crush him? If he wasn't a sworn enemy, then what was he? I was so speechless. I asked, "Bro, do you have a grudge against him or something?" Shen Yuki firmly replied, "Yes." Looking at the message sent over, I froze. I didn't expect this person to be so blunt. No beating around the bush at all.
Lu Manman Chi.
Zhuyuan. What do you mean by that? Melancholy has a stalker of mine. Every time he sees me like a picture, he rushes in to flame you. You're not the first person this has happened to. It makes me afraid to like anything anymore. I feel like I'm ruining those designers. Melancholy, causing the works I like to get trashed. It's truly infuriating, but also makes me feel so helpless. Because of this, I'm melancholy every single day. To win some sympathy, Shen Yuki deliberately made herself sound very pitiful. Her username, Melancholy, wasn't actually because of Wu Mu, but more about her general state of life. Saying all this was nothing more than wanting me to strike hard and teach Wu Mu a lesson. This was his bad habit. Actually, Shen Yusi had warned Wu Mu many times already, but the more she warned him, the harder he flamed people, just to prove he was better than everyone else, that he was the true genius designer. He was exactly like a rock in a latrine, smelly and stubborn. This time, she finally had a chance to use someone else's hands to cure his bad habit. She absolutely wasn't going to give up. Melancholy, bullying me is one thing, but flaming other designers for no reason, that's just completely unreasonable. Looking at the message Melancholy sent, I suddenly felt so incredibly wronged. If he genuinely didn't acknowledge my skills, I could accept that. But flaming me just because of a like, isn't that completely absurd? And posting a trashy drawing just to disgust people. Treating me like cannon fodder. I worked hard on this piece, and just for some dark, selfish motive of his own, he trashes it recklessly. Where's the respect? Lu Manman Chi Shuion. Thanks for telling me the truth, miss. I turned off the notifications and glanced toward Wu Mu's office. You really can know a person's face but not their heart. Turns out our star designer is a creep who bullies girls. Just wait. I'll draw a piece that'll teach him a real lesson. My ideas all come from before I transmigrated. Plus, I already had a natural talent for design. That's the very reason I can sweep the floor with anyone. Meanwhile, looking at the message, Lin Yuan replied with, a bright smile bloomed on Shen Yuki's face. A smile full of hidden meaning. Just based on what Lu Manman Chi Shuion could do, she knew there was going to be a good show to watch this time. Combined with what she had just said, she wouldn't say it was a 90% guarantee, but it was pretty much set in stone. Thinking this, Shen Yuxi picked up the phone on her desk and called Si Qingqing outside. The instructions were extremely simple. Less than 2 seconds later, Si Qingqing pushed open the CEO's office door and walked in. Standing before the desk, she bowed slightly. President Shen, you were looking for me. Find a group of internet trolls in Kunnan. under the post of someone named Lu Manman Chi Shu Yon. Flame him hard for me. Brother Mu? Shen Yuki looked into Si Qingqing's beautiful eyes, smiling brightly. Si Qingqing's intuition told her that President Shen had finally waited for this moment. Misunderstanding, she subconsciously asked, President Shen, are you trying to teach designer Wu Mu a lesson? Outsiders didn't know, but as her assistant, Si Qingqing knew he was the epitome of lacking self-awareness. Not only did President Shen hate him, even she found him highly repulsive. He was just relying on his dad, and a bit of past connection with President Shen's father. That was the only reason President Shen reluctantly hadn't fired him. Who did he really think he was? Shen Yuxi nodded, her tone carrying a hint of ruthlessness. The number of trolls must be 5 times his fan count. Give him a lesson hell never forget. This time, she was going to end this once and for all. She had never been an innocent little white rabbit. If she was truly provoked, then no one was going to have a peaceful life. For the entire afternoon, I was busy drawing. It wasn't until people started leaving one by one that I realized it was time to get off work. I stood up and stretched. My phone suddenly buzzed. I clicked to check. It was an address sent by Shen Yuxi, along with a transfer of 10,000 yuan. I narrowed my eyes, feeling a bit suspicious. Why would she randomly give me money out of nowhere? While I was wondering, I received a cold message from Shen Yuxi. This money is what your mom gave me to acknowledge me as her daughter-in-law. I've given you the address. Hurry up. I knew there was no such thing as a free lunch, but I really didn't expect. It seems she really likes Shen Yuxi. If she finds out I lied to her, she'd probably be heartbroken, right? I didn't dare think about it any further. My phone rang. I pursed my lips and left the company, riding my little scooter, heading toward home. I got home just past 6. In winter, it gets dark early. Today, I still had to hurry and bring my clothes over to Shen Yuki's place. I was just calculating what to send and what to keep, but as soon as I opened the door, I was startled by the sight inside. In the living room, which was over 20 square meters, sat 2 massive bags. They were packed in black plastic bags, looking exactly like a pile of unwanted trash. My parents were sitting on the sofa watching TV. On the TV was the drama Feathers Fly to the Sky. The noisy family drama had completely absorbed their attention. They heard me come back but didn't say a word. I looked at my mom in surprise. Why is there trash sitting in the middle of the living room? Saying that, I was about to go over and throw the 2 bags of trash out. Su Kuifan seemed completely baffled by his question. She leaned over and glared at him. What do you mean trash? Those are your clothes. Didn't you want to move out and live with Zhaoji? So I helped you pack your things. And now I'm the one in the wrong. I did indeed say that. I just didn't expect the day of reckoning to come so quickly. It's only been 2 days. Where would I even find the time to look for a place? Looking into the black plastic bag, I saw the edge of my pajamas sticking out. I quietly let go. Mom's packing was way too half-assed. Having someone pack for you is good enough. Once you move over, you need to be careful. You have to be quick on your feet and help out. Girls are meant to be pampered. What kind of mindset is this? Are us guys not meant to be pampered? I pursed my lips.
Right.
You're absolutely right, Mom.
Saying that, I pulled my phone out of my pocket. I sent a WeChat message to Hausi. It seemed the only way now was to crash at Hausi's place for a while. Hausi was a true blue Northwesterner. After graduating, he chose to stay in Hushi. Right now, he was a gaming streamer. He made about 7 or 8,000 a month. After typing out the message, I hit send bro, I'm in trouble. Let me crash at your place for a couple of days. Less than 3 seconds later, I got a reply from Hausi. No problem. I'm streaming tonight, so don't bother me. The key is outside the door. Just let yourself in. Whether he was living well or not aside. Whenever I needed help, he always agreed immediately. I shoved my phone back into my pocket and looked toward the dining table. It was completely empty. There was nothing to eat at all. Mom, didn't you cook dinner? Cook what dinner? Go eat with Xiaoxi. You two are living together now, aren't you? You have to eat your meals together. If you eat by yourself now, what is she supposed to do? Su Kuifan was a woman of experience. Women understand women. That saying wasn't wrong at all. Back then, when she and Lin Yuan's dad first got married, he kept complaining about her cooking, which pissed her off to no end. Now, she didn't want her daughter-in-law to suffer the same grievance. They absolutely had to eat together. I let out a heavy sigh. She couldn't go 3 sentences without mentioning Shen Yuxi. Is she trying to find a wife for me or what? Seriously? Are you moving out or just finding yourself a new princess to serve? If you like her that much,
Why don't you two just swap places?
she can be our daughter, and you can go be the CEO. I shrugged, helplessly picking up my luggage from the floor. I'm leaving then? What? You want to stay for the new year? My mom looked completely impatient. Looking at her face, I could see the illusion of someone about to be set free. Stepping out the door, I stuffed my 2 large luggage bags into black plastic bags and loaded them onto my e-bike. Then, I opened the map app and entered the address Shen Yuxi gave me. Perfect. All my clothes are right here. She's always asking for clothes all day. Well, now all my clothes are here. I'll let her pick to her heart's content. When the map loaded, Lin Yuan couldn't help but be surprised. The houses there are insane. Even with money, you might not be able to live there. let alone buy a place. They don't rent to ordinary people at all. The vast majority of people living there are celebrities. The crazy part is, they all rent their homes. They absolutely do not sell them. In short, anyone who can live there is definitely not an ordinary person. I can't believe she lives there. The ride took over 30 minutes. Halfway there, my luggage accidentally fell on the ground. One of the plastic bags even tore. Looking at the words Minsheng at the residential complex gate, I sighed. I finally arrived. And just as I was about to take 2 steps inside, I was stopped by 2 security guards. Their attitude was quite polite though. They came up and greeted me properly, just as I was marveling at how different high-end complexes are. I heard the shorter guard say, "Sorry, our complex doesn't buy scrap. You'll have to go somewhere else." I was speechless.
You've gotta be kidding me.
Bro, with which eye do you see me collecting scrap? These are all my clothes, not scrap. I argued. The guard peeked into my bag and continued, "Sorry, we don't buy old clothes here either. The people living here are all wealthy elites." The guards could basically remember all their faces. Plus, with this little e-bike and the 2 huge bags of old clothes on it, the guard's first reaction was that I was a junk collector. He probably thought that since the clothes in this area are quite expensive, they could be sold for a good price, which is why I came all the way here to collect them. Bro, go collect clothes somewhere else. After saying that, the guard patted Ling Yuan on the shoulder. It wasn't hard to see the pity in his eyes. Such a handsome young man. Why is he doing this kind of work? Even just doing casual live streams. Being an influencer is better than this job, right? He probably has a screw loose in his head. I was so confused. What the hell is up with this serious dude? Just as I was about to explain myself, a brand new black phantom interrupted our conversation. This car was appearing in the complex for the first time, even though the 2 guards had never seen this car before. One glance was enough for them to step aside. After all, the residents here were not people you wanted to mess with. The car window rolled down from the inside. Shen Yuxi's breathtakingly beautiful face appeared inside the car. She looked at me with an expressionless face. "Get in. I'll take you home." After saying that, she looked at the 2 guards and added, "He is my husband."